How's it going, everybody? Welcome to week 7. Here we're looking at some more empires. Last week we sort of introduced some empires, India, but then we also kind of introduced epics, this idea of how literature works within society, epic stories. We have a few more epics this week as well, but we also have some good empires. It's a little more clear. India. The problem with India is we don't have exactly as many records as we do in other places, for a lot of reasons we don't need to worry about in this class. But places like Persia, we do. We have a lot of good records from there. Cyrus in his cylinder, which I talk about, which you can kind of see how cuneiform books are made. They write on these cylinders. You can roll them over wet clay or ink them and roll them over paper and actually read these books. It's like little portable scrolls. We have inscriptions by Darius, who talked about, I gave you a link to the inscriptions, that talk about what he did, his deeds as unifying, centralizing, right? We talk about one issue of one component feature of empires is centralization, and the Persians were very good at that, particularly these satraps that he set up, so that, the Persians were the ones in charge, but each little satrap was semi-autonomous, but, paid taxes, were still sort of subservient to the Persians, and they ruled very successfully over, again, much larger, and not over Mesopotamia, controlled Egypt for a while, into parts of the Mediterranean, all the way up into the Indus. So it's another big thing, a little more diversity in these empires than what we saw with these sort of civilizations. So all those features we talked about empire are exhibited in Persia. Yeah, they talked about some of the rulers there. But the Persian Wars are very important. From the Persian side, we see they sort of wanted to expand into Greece. There's some famous events from there. I gave the movie 300 recounts the Battle of Thermopylae between Xerxes and Leonidas. Then we'll get back to that from the Greek side a little bit later, so we can see two different perspectives of this event. So that's the Persians, and then talked about economics, trade, those kind of things, and similar empires in Japan. In China as well as Japan as well. Talked about the Qing dynasty, of Shi Huangdi. When we talked about empires, this very strict, very statist, everything through one ruler. It was very short-lived, but it unified China quickly, centralized it, and then the Han built on top of that, and then kind of were the first major empires of China, where North and South are united. Kind of this flourishing of the Silk Road with the Kushans, the Mediterranean Sea. So we talk about the Han Empire there. And then within that, the importance of Confucianism and Taoism, both sort of, and these are sort of epic literatures in a way as well. Confucianism and Taoism are both thinking about harmony, that prior to the Qin and Han periods, China was broken down into small little kingdoms. Both were trying to think how to bring this together. Confucianism is very much like that humans have to be conditioned to be orderly. You have to learn, you have to cultivate an idea of orderliness in your own lives, in your family life, and then in your public life, and that will bring things together. That Confucianism is very, very still important. Very well remembered today. The Analects, I gave you a reading of that, what it means to be a Junzi, this sort of gentlemanness, but Taoism says, no, that you don't need all of this cultivation and human intervention. There's models of order all around us in this natural world. Taoism is fun, I think, though challenging, because it makes you rethink and unthink what you've had. So I gave you some examples of sort of Taoism, right? Even like the first famous one is like, what is the name of the Tao? It means nothing. It's nameless. So why try to put it into a box? And then it goes on to like talk about different boxes you can and can't put it in. And the diet, but that's the idea is that Wu Wei, this idea of action and non-action, similar to a little bit of what we learned about in karma, that if you try too hard, you're going to mess things up, right? Water doesn't try to make a channel; it just flows in the easiest path. But it also, it's one of the softest things, but also one of the hardest. It can go through rock over time. So Taoism is kind of interesting, but both of them are looking for harmony, how to order society, make it orderly. So that's Han, and then Japan. This is also kind of the time when Japan gets unified, a little bit more state transition from the Jomon sort of hunter-gatherer small settlements to larger states. Different phases. Yayoi, you have influx of rice, metal, bronze, starts showing up. You have these new graves in the Kofun period. Then you have the first imperial family, this Uji, this clan, the Yamato clan, that emerges and kind of combines Shintoism, which is another sort of epics, creation stories. All of these stories are in the epics of the Kojiki or Shionnoki. Yes, I think of sort of early history of Japan, with a lot of, this is where a lot of the Shinto ideas come out of, or are documented, and the imperial family as well. So if you're interested in that, for those epics, yeah. Then we talk about Shintoism. What is Shintoism? A little bit as well. So that's kind of the material for this week. This idea of empires and how they're forming in different regions. And then the other big part for your assignment for this week is epic essay peer review. And I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. I put a lecture about what the final epic essay should look like. A little bit about how essays are composed, how this essay should be composed, or the three different components of summary, historical context, and cultural significance. I in no way expect a final paper or even close to a final draft by Friday. So don't worry about it. Don't fret about it. The big thing about a draft is to get words on paper. Get your epic. I want you to upload your epic, your PDF version or online version, whatever epic it is. You need to have it in hand by the end of this week. At least give an idea of what the epic's about. Be familiar with it. A little bit of historical context. When was it made? And then like some cultural significance. You probably won't know about all of this yet. Feel free to let AI kind of help you with that. Work through some of these bigger things. If you turn me a fully flawless 5-page paper final draft on Friday, I'm going to assume it's all AI. I don't think I couldn't even do that, and I've been writing and researching for a long time. So that's not what I want. I want your thoughts. Start working through these ideas. How can you? I mean, if you use AI to help you, you need to go back and put that stuff in your own words, right? So, use it as a tool, but don't just put all this stuff into Gemini. Please use Gemini if you do. And then just copy and paste it and upload it. That's not what I want in the draft, and that it's a detriment to you, right? You need to kind of be thinking, putting these ideas together. What are you going to say about this epic? And I mentioned this epic essay too. That if you have a very long epic, which some of these are thousands of pages long, don't freak out, right? Pick a section of it, pick a chapter of it, right? You can summarize it in the first opening paragraphs of your epic essay. Here's what it is in a larger scale, but I'm going to focus on this one single event there, and then that should be plenty for your epic essay. So that's what I want you to do this week. Kind of be thinking through that, how you're going to approach that, and then I gave some examples there. So by Friday, upload your draft by Friday. And again, it can be in any format. It can be just a collection of 3 major parts with the paragraphs written about it. It can be an outline. Do try to kind of fill in each sort of section a little bit with your own thoughts and ideas of how you might want to present it. Again, I do not expect a 5-page, 1,000-word essay. In fact, it would be impossible to write by Friday. But put it up there, and then by Monday, read your group's different essays as well. So, and then peer review. There's peer review guides there and sheets that you can upload. So, I think it's clear. Let me know if it's not. That's one more big announcement. The UH Common Scholarship has been posted. So, be thinking about that. It's not due till March 2nd, but we get started on it now. All right. Have a good rest of your week.